Now, for him, of course, he is really expressing, but this is what he knows. And the young lady, mashallah, she was really fat. So what happened? Both of them came to the office, and she is mad, and he is so mad. He said, I did exactly what you told me. And I said, what did you do? He said, I said, oh yo, I love you, you're so fat. And I'm looking at her, so I have to turn my face away, because she was really taking the whole couch, alhamdulillah. If you have to write something nice, a poem, then you make sure that you study the psychology of your wife. And by the way, the Sahaba of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they used to love one another and write poems for one another. Remember when Atika bint Zayd, she married Abdurrahman bin Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, and she was beautiful, and she was a poet, and he was a poet, and he was a poet. So all day long what they do, they used to say a poem. He would recite a poem, a love poem for her, and she would respond another love poem, and sometimes he would miss salah, listening her poems. And one day after Salat al-Jum'ah, Abu Bakr saw him coming to the Salat al-Jum'ah late. قال أين كنت يا عبد الرحمن? Where were you, Abd al-Rahman? He said, Ya Abata, oh dad, I was really writing a poem for my wife, and she was singing me a poem, and we missed the salah. He said, divorce her on the spot. Abd al-Rahman, he had to listen to his father, so he divorced her. And she was beautiful, and she was a poet, and he was in love, madly in love with her. Abd al-Rahman, he became like a person who was insane. He would walk through the streets of Medina reciting the poem of his ex-wife. He is, tears on his cheeks, love poems. And Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu felt sad for him. And he said, okay, go take her back. However, don't ever miss another Jum'ah. So the love poem was only between the salah. Between Maghrib and Isha was a love poem, but when the adhan is called, there is no love poem at all. So if you can do this, it's perfectly fine. A man should do this. Also, sisters love a man who is committed and loyal. See, this is something that is so important for women. When you go out, and your wife is walking next to you, and you doing shopping, and you, mashallah, you're looking around, don't think your wife, she's looking around too. No, she's looking at you. She's looking at you. And mashallah, when you're picking out potatoes and tomatoes, and you pick a nice tomato, and a beautiful lady passes by, you're like, right? And she is not looking at anywhere else but at your eyes. So, women, in this case, they don't want a man who looks around. They want someone who is so committed, who is only looking at her, who's telling her how beautiful she is. And alhamdulillah, this is one thing that sisters need. Also, brothers, we talked about other points. They love the man who is so forgiving. So forgiving. Even the older generation nowadays, alhamdulillah, old fathers, they know this aspect very well. They master that art. But a lot of young people don't know that your wife, she knows when she made a mistake, but at the same time, she wants you to forgive her. Overlook everything that she said, everything that she did, and just start a new page. If you do this, she will cherish you. She will honor you, and she will love you. And subhanAllah, from the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you know what happened in the battle of Uhud? You know, he said to those 50 mujahid, do not come off the mountain. But they did. Have you ever read a hadith or a story, messenger of Allah, blaming those and say, the only reason we lost battle of Uhud 5 years ago is because of those Sahaba? Never. They made a mistake, he moved on. Here in your marriage life, if your wife makes mistake, you move on. You don't, mashallah, some of the brothers, mashallah, December 1994, when we were in a sort even, you are to your cousin as your brother, you lied. Forget it. Don't mention any of this. Pretend that never happened and move on. And that's why in Sahih al-Bukhari, Sunan Tirmidhi, one of the wives, Hadith Aisha, she said, Zawji, إِذَا دَخَلَ فَهِدْ وَإِذَا خَرَجَ أَسْأَلْ وَلَا يَسْأَلْ عَمَّا أَهْلِ. Yani, alhamdulillah, when he comes, he lets me do whatever I want to do, and when he leaves, he behaves like a man. And it reminded me the story of Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu, which I will tell you later inshallah if you remind me. Also, they like, because I really want to get into the sisters, some of the brothers are waiting for the sisters' turn. They love the man who is truthful, and he is clear in his approach. Don't like cutting corners, don't like cheating, don't like fabricating things, but who is very honest. You know, I did not come on time because I was talking to Abdul Qadir and we were chit-chatting and I missed the appointment. They like those kind of people. Also, they love role model. They love you to lead by example. Not ما عرضت وين القرآن ودكتا محاد فائدة دوتها وان صو شقية أقول قد أحفظ. No, you should pick up the mushaf and teach the children. She would teach the children before you come home. You have to teach by example, not by words. And when you say to your wife, do this, you should be the one, you already should be doing this and be engaging that all the time. This is important, and I have almost 25 different points of how to be a role model, but we are, I think, pressed time and we don't want to go over all this. Women also like, brothers, a man who would never mention anyone else in her presence. Never. The biggest mistake that we do as men is when we mention other women in the presence of our wives. Hayay. Miyad ogtahay maanta ambara cuntaday samaysay. Masha Allah. Canjeerada, sabayadi, isku dhexkariski. If she has a knife, if your wife have a knife, you should be in another next room. Don't ever mention, don't ever say, oh look, at that woman, she was dressed fine. She was dressed nice hijab. What were you looking for? Why? Don't ever mention. Whatever other people do, that's their problem. Don't ever mention other women in the presence of your wives. This is the biggest mistake that as men we do. But we think by reminding her or showing what other women did, we are teaching her so she can improve herself. No. You're digging a grave for yourself if you ever do that. Trust me, I've been imam long enough to understand and learn that. Now let us see the things that may cherish and encourage the love that your wife may have for you. One is take spend quality time together. Women love, they obsess with quality time. Spend quality time. Get rid of the kids. As I usually say, take them to the zoo and leave them. And just bring your wife back and go out and spend some time together. No one else. Or take them to your neighbors.